right now, somewhere in your life, there's something unfinished, something you started with fire in your eyes and conviction in your heart that sits there waiting. Maybe it's that business plan buried in your laptop, that manuscript with only 3 chapters written, that fitness goal you abandoned in February, that skill you swore you'd master. You know what I'm talking about. We all have them, these ghosts of ambition, these monuments to our good intentions. And every time you walk past them, every time you think about them, there's this little voice that whispers, "You didn't finish. You gave up. You're not who you thought you were." But here's what nobody tells you about unfinished things: they're not dead, they're dormant. Every incomplete project, every abandoned goal, every half built dream is actually a seed of possibility that's been waiting, sometimes for months, sometimes for years, for you to come back and water it. The world is full of starters. Everyone can begin something when motivation is high and the path looks clear. But finishers? Finishers are rare. Finishers change the world. Because finishing isn't about talent. It's about showing up when every cell in your body wants to quit. You want to know the real difference between successful people and everyone else? It's not intelligence. It's not connections. It's not even hard work. It's their relationship with unfinished business. They can't sleep knowing something they started is sitting there incomplete. It haunts them. It calls to them. And they answer that call. Think about this. Every unfinished project is a broken promise to yourself. And every broken promise weakens your belief in your own word. When you say, "I'm going to do this," and then don't, you're training your brain that your commitments mean nothing, that your dreams are negotiable, that your goals are suggestions. But what if today, right now, you decided to change that pattern? What if you went back to that thing you abandoned and said, "Not on my watch, not in my life. This ends today." I'm not talking about perfection. I'm talking about completion. That book doesn't have to be a bestseller. It just needs to be finished. That project doesn't have to change the world. It just needs to be done. Because every time you finish something, you're not just completing a task. You're rebuilding trust with yourself. You see, we think success is about the big moments, the breakthrough, the victory. But success is actually built in the moments nobody sees. When you sit down at 5 a.m. to write one more page, when you make that phone call you've been avoiding, when you choose to spend Friday night working on your dream instead of numbing yourself with distractions. Your unfinished symphony isn't waiting for inspiration, it's waiting for commitment. It's waiting for you to understand that finishing isn't about feeling ready. Nobody feels ready. Finishing is about showing up anyway. It's about honoring the person you were when you started and becoming the person you need to be to complete it. Every day you let it sit unfinished, you're accepting a version of yourself that settles, that quits, that makes excuses. But every hour you invest in completing it, you're voting for a different version, one that keeps promises, that follows through, that turns intentions into reality. The clock is ticking, not just on your goals, but on your life. How many more years are you going to carry these unfinished dreams? How many more times are you going to tell yourself someday? How many more opportunities are you going to let die because you couldn't push through the resistance? And here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Your unfinished projects know who you really are. They've seen you at your weakest. They've watched you choose comfort over growth, distraction over discipline, excuses over execution. But they've also seen your potential. They remember the fire you had when you started. They know what you're capable of when you commit. And they're waiting, not for the perfect moment, not for the ideal conditions, not for the motivation to strike. They're waiting for you to simply decide, "I'm going to finish this." So here's my challenge to you. Pick one thing, just one, the one that hurts the most to think about, the one that represents who you wanted to be, and make a commitment. Not to perfection, not to success, but to completion. Set a deadline. Tell someone about it. Make it real. Because on the other side of that unfinished thing isn't just accomplishment, it's transformation. It's the knowledge that you can trust yourself, that your word means something, that when you start something, you finish it. Your unfinished symphony is calling you. It's been calling you all along. The question isn't whether you can finish it. You started it, which means somewhere inside you is everything you need to complete it. The question is, how much longer are you going to let it wait? How much longer are you going to let it remind you of who you're not, instead of pushing through to discover who you really are? Today. Not tomorrow, not next week, not when you feel ready. Today you go back to that unfinished symphony and you write the next note. Then the next. Then the next. Because finishers don't wait for inspiration, they create it through action. They don't need perfect conditions. They make progress in chaos. They don't require motivation. They run on commitment. Your unfinished symphony has waited long enough. It's time to pick up where you left off and show the world. But more importantly, show yourself. What happens when you refuse to let your dreams die half-built? Listen closely. The only thing standing between you and completion is the decision to begin again. And that decision changes everything.